So let's talk about resentment in business because this is something that comes up with so many entrepreneurs that I mentor. And it's one of those hidden saboteurs in business that oftentimes when you think there's a problem with strategy, if we actually look at the energetic relationship underneath the surface that you have in your business and with your business, looking at the business as a relationship, just like a relationship with your significant other or your best friend or someone that you love, there is a relationship there. And resentment is one of those things that it's so easy to slip into in business, and it can be one of those things that creates so many issues underneath the surface. In this case, I was mentoring an entrepreneur today. She flew out to Boulder here. We spent the day together, and we were mapping out her next moves and basically her path to scale. And what became super clear was what started as a strategy challenge, as I feel like I'm having all these issues with lead flow in my business. Actually, if we looked at one level deeper, it was really like this built up and pent up exhaustion and resentment around feeling like she was putting so much into the business, but wasn't getting enough back. And what started out as this dynamic with her business where she felt really energized and excited over time, it started to slip into this relationship where it was like, I feel like the business is not giving me what I'm giving it. And that's a common pattern and dynamic that I see in so many business owners and with so many businesses. And what starts to happen is that dynamic starts to feed on itself in business. It's like if you think about the partnership that you have, your significant other, if you're married, or just in a long-term relationship, you imagine the relationship where someone is like, you're not spending enough time with me. You need to hang out with me more. I was like, do you want to hang out with that person? Or the person that you're with is constantly saying, I feel like you're never doing enough. You're not giving me enough of your time, your energy, your love. Do you want to pour more into that relationship? So many times in business, this energy of resentment can actually create this like force that pushes against a lot of the on the surface effort that we might put into quote unquote solving the problems that we have in our business or creating movement or momentum. And so it's like you have one foot on the gas pedal in your business. You might be trying consciously to grow and scale, but there's this hidden force that's actually stalling or pulling back the actual growth in the business. It's like you got one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake. And so a lot of this comes down to shifting the relationship that you have with your business, looking at it as a relationship and looking at like, where are the sources of resentment in my business? What is creating that resentment in my business? How can I shift that relationship? Sometimes it's you're working with the wrong clients who may have been a fit for a certain stage in your business, but as you grow and scale, they're no longer a match for who you are today. And so you're spending all your time answering questions that maybe were energizing or exciting to you when you first started, but now you're being called to work with a higher caliber client, and yet there's this mismatch or this misalignment between the people that you're serving and the people that you know that you're being called to serve. And so over time, if that's not addressed, that's an area that you might see resentment. Sometimes it's around team, it's around boundaries, it's around expectations that you might be setting with clients. There's so many different ways that this can pop up in business. But looking at like, what is my relationship with my business? Looking at it as a relationship and looking at what are those hidden sources of resentment, like what's the cause of those things? How can I shift? How can I heal? How can I let go? How can I shift the dynamic? Sometimes it's just a mindset thing. It's like my business doesn't owe me anything, And how can I fall in love with my business again? Just like any long-term relationship, there are going to be times that you feel really close and times where maybe you drift. And the important thing is to come back together. How can you fall in love with your clients again? One of the things that came up today on our one-to-one session too is this is an entrepreneur who scaled really quickly. And like many smart entrepreneurs, she's looking at leverage. She's saying, okay, well, I can't spend all my time on the ground floor serving clients one-to-one. So she got out of the weeds and she built a team. And what was interesting about that was over time, she started to feel very disconnected from her clients. And that actually used to bring her a lot of joy. But now she's feeling disconnected from the actual work that she's doing, from the people that she's serving, the day-to-day of just falling in love with your clients. And this is something that often happens with more established entrepreneurs, particularly as they scale, is like they'll leverage their way out of the delivery, which oftentimes is a smart thing to do. But then they feel like all they're doing all day is managing team. And what used to give them life, the thing that quote unquote doesn't scale, has been so whitewashed out of their relationship with the business that they start to resent the role that they have, right? So many different ways this can show up in business. Asking yourself, what is your relationship with your business today? Is there any resentment? If so, how can we shift this over time? And what would it take to really fall in love with your business again? In this season of my own journey as an entrepreneur, I look at our clients. I've never felt more lit up by the people that we're serving, by the work that I'm doing in the world, by the impact that we're making. And this has been a journey for me of alignment. It's not something that happened overnight. And it's also not something that you just hit and it's like, oh, great, now the business is aligned. It's like a razor's edge. It's like season after season, you're reevaluating things, you're shifting, the business is evolving, and you're changing things as you grow and evolve, because alignment is not this static thing, right? So really paying attention to these things, noticing where are those hidden sources of resentment in my business? How can I fall in love with my business again? It's a practice. It takes work. It takes intention. But it's often the thing that's underneath what many entrepreneurs see as a strategy problem. Because when you love your clients, when you love the work that you're here to do, when there's not this resentment that's creating this like push-pull, one foot on the gas, one foot on the brakes effect in your business, it's so much easier to scale. And oftentimes the strategy problems that you think you have will actually take care of themselves.